Oh, um, sorry folks, caught me playing with my handheld, Sega Genesis game. It's pretty neat. I mean, it has like over 89 games inside this thing. But of course, there is a downloadable thing, and Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 is in this game. And as you can see here, I'm playing Sonic. Ah! Oh well. Anyway, enough about that, folks. Let's talk about the certain genre I want to talk about. One thing it's really neat about this, that this thing has Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 in this handheld system. Now, of course, one thing I heard about this, that it has like a DS chip slot in it, and if I get myself a DS slot for this sucker, I know exactly what kind of games I want to download in that chip, so I can play it on this. Street Fighter games. So this thing will have Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter in this handheld system. But of course, this is a genre I'm going to be talking about, folks. Some of you probably remembered about my oldest crossover theory that I had in mind. The crossover theory of Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat that I drew. Oh, by the way, a little update. My thoughts about Onaga being the head bad guy on Mortal Kombat. Sadly, Onaga became the master on Deception, and then after that, it's just back to Shao Kahn. So, I think it's better if Shao Kahn be in this and not Onaga. I mean, heck, all of you remembered my artwork of what I did there. My artwork of Street Fighter vs. Mortal Kombat. The storyboard. The choose your character. And they should replace Shujinko, maybe Jax Briggs, I guess. The loading. Sub-Zero and Scorpion versus Vega and Akuma. Chun-Li and Cammy versus Kano and Mileena. Blanca versus Reptile. Johnny Cage versus Sagat. Guile versus Shang Tsung. Zangief versus Goro. And of course, choose your character on the Conquest mode. Raiden or Ryu. Now, Ryu's ending that he battles against Onaga, but I think it's better if he battles against Shao Kahn instead of Onaga. I mean, imagine Ryu going all, Hadouken! Or, Shoryuken! Right on Shao Kahn. And of course, the ending for Raiden, that M. Bison becomes a god, and according to the Mortal Kombat's law, if somebody starts having godlike powers, only a god can defeat him. And Raiden decided to battle against M. Bison, who starts becoming a god. And that was my idea and my crossover theory. And if some of you kind of missed it, I think you should stop this video and look down below. I'll probably send a link to it if possible. But that crossover theory got me thinking. There were other crossover games that they made, and now it's the time for me to talk about it. So this is the topic I'm going to go for today. I'm going to talk about crossover fighting video games. And believe it or not, it started with the Marvel superheroes. As it turns out, from the beginning, there was a Marvel fighting video game from Capcom, which Capcom got the rights from Marvel, decided to make this video game of the X-Men. And since, to Capcom's belief, And of course, since now they have the rights for having the X-Men, they also have the right to make this other fighting video game, Marvel Superheroes, where all the Marvel characters fight. And it was way before they did the comic book of Civil War. And the movie. Which I'm not really interested on Civil War. I'll probably have a huge hiccup over Civil War, the Captain America movie. Anyway, since Capcom decided, since they owned the rights of Marvel, they decided to make their first crossover fighting video game ever, and it is none other than X-Men vs. Street Fighter. Imagine that. Wolverine versus Ryu. A lot of Hadouken! And I'm the best at what I do, bub. And then after that, they decided to expand the whole Capcom and Marvel. So they made this game, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter. And that became a huge hit, that this time they decided that Marvel Superheroes should no longer be fighting against Street Fighter characters, but all the characters that Capcom own. So therefore they made Marvel vs. Capcom, and it was the first game they made. And then after that, they kept making more sequels to it when they made Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And of course, some of you know about the one that came out, Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And then the latest one they met, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinity, or Infinite. And since that Capcom decided to, since Capcom expanded their Marvel and crossover fights, that all of a sudden Konami wanted to have a piece of the crossover fight in action. So Capcom got Konami's permission to make this fighting video game, Street Fighter vs. Tekken. Now, I remember playing Tekken years ago. I mean, when I first had my first PlayStation, I played Tekken 1. And then I played Tekken 3 until I got myself Tekken 2. And then I kept collecting and playing Tekken games until I stopped after I was done playing Tekken 4. I didn't think about getting Tekken 5 when I got my PlayStation 3. And then Capcom went to another company, which pretty much created their own fighting video game called the SNK. And their famous fighting game they made was King of Fighters. And therefore they made Capcom vs. SNK. Ho! Oh, how'd I get there? Anyway, and Capcom would have continued on with the SNK, so they made Capcom vs. SNK 2. Oh, and this is the first one. I guess this was the original. Huh. And then they made 3. And then all of a sudden, when I heard about this Mighty Morphin Power Rangers app game, which I never played, because I lost my interest of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but they made Power Rangers Legacy War, and believe it or not, you can unlock Street Fighter characters. As you can see here, here's the Street Fighter characters in the Power Ranger fighting game. And if you lock any further, you get a brand new character, the Ryu Ranger. And that idea got so popular that they decided to make... Oh yeah, and here's the Legacy War Power Rangers. Anyway, that went pretty popular enough that they decided to make Power Ranger Legacy War meet Street Fighter. And I saw the video. It was pretty awesome. Pretty cool to see the actor who played Tommy and the actress who played Kat meet Chun-Li and Ryu. And it turns out that Bison and Lord Zedd, they start working together and start corrupting all the other Rangers. And Ryu is their last hope. And Tommy gave him a power coin, and therefore Ryu become the Ryu Ranger. Go, go, Power Rangers! Now, sadly, you would never see a crossover between Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, but they did make, like, some kind of a PC downloadable game that you can get called Mugen, where you can choose tons of characters and go through your fighting game, and even some of the characters are made up for the game. Like, I even saw Peter Griffin versus Chun-Li. What do you know? I've defeated Chun-Li. Eat your heart out, Ryu. But I still wish that they should have done a crossover. That's why when I had this game, Mortal Kombat Armageddon, I created most of the Street Fighter characters in this game. So I kind of had like my own Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat crossover in this one. But, much to my surprise, Midway, who made Mortal Kombat, they decided to make a deal with Warner Brothers. And that's when they made their first crossover Mortal Kombat game, which is not exactly the most popular video game, but it's sort of a cult classic game to play. Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe, where now you can see Sub-Zero battling against Superman, and I mean, it kind of imagine Scorpion going like, "Get over here!" and Batman going, "I am the Knight!" and Superman going, "Up, up, and away!" and Raiden going, "Double da! On a putty!" But when Midway made a deal with Warner Brothers, they made a brand new company called NetherRealm Studio, and made their the best DC superhero fighting game ever, Injustice: Gods Among Us. I have the first game, and they also made the second one, but sadly I don't have it because my PS4 still don't work. Well, when would the crossover end? Probably never. Anyway, this is Multi-Voice Reviewer, aka Michael A. Grimm, telling you, if you enjoy this review, please leave a comment down below, hit like and subscribe, and share on Facebook or whatever you like to share it to. And as you can see on my Game Insane, I got some things to talk about involving video games. I mean, heck, there's a character I want to talk about who is a spokesperson for Sega Genesis, and he goes by the name Segata Satseo. So stay tuned, folks, and as for me, I got some more Sega to play. So